I wasn't born with a 5 million person audience. This was only 24 months ago on YouTube, and this is today.
Yup, in 24 months, Alex Hormozi has gone from making videos in his basement for 3,000 subscribers to now building a brand of over 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube and recently breaking the Guinness World Record by 4 times for holding a virtual book event attended by 562,000 people live. And it took him $3.6 million to figure out this exact content strategy. What makes a breakdown of his YouTube strategy so hard is the fact that the reasons for his growth are kind of hard to identify. He's making content in the business niche, which is a very saturated market already, and yet he's been able to stand out so well that every entrepreneur you know knows about him. Sure, he's providing valuable information to his audience and giving away practically everything he knows about offers and leads for free. And after analyzing his content for weeks, I have figured out the 9 things that he does better than anyone else. These 9 secrets are what made me realize that his growth wasn't a stroke of luck. In fact, it was a stroke of genius. He has basically discovered the simplest but most brilliant YouTube strategy to build a powerful personal brand. To understand the first secret behind his rapid growth, we have to go back to May 2021. In May 2021, when he just had 3,000 subscribers, he finally started taking YouTube seriously. The funny thing is that just a few months before this, he thought that making content was unnecessary. So what shifted his mindset? He realized that free content brought in and retained his paying customers. He surveyed his existing clients at Gym Launch, a business which helps people launch and scale their gyms, and realized that more than 60% of the clients that he had retained had watched at least 2 of his videos after seeing his ads or getting a cold email, cold DM, or cold call from his team. That's when he dialed into content. And what he did was absolutely brilliant. Earlier in 2021, he was only talking about growing gyms, but now he slowly transitioned to making content about marketing and sales for entrepreneurs. Alex Hormozi says, start with owning a small puddle, then a pond, then a lake, then finally own an ocean. So be the king of a small niche first, then go broader and broader. It's better to be known for one hyper-specific thing by a very small group of people than to try to compete for the attention of a large group of people who have more credible and established tycoons they can look to for advice. We'll talk more about his actual strategy and philosophy on owning an ocean a few minutes later. But first, let's get into how to actually become the go-to authority figure in a puddle, as Alex Hormozi says. Even if you're not the CEO of a $100 million company like he was. So Alex Hormozi says you need to stop making how-to content and instead make how-I content. You just need to be someone worth listening to in your niche with some experience in it and talk about your specific experiences. All my clients are way more successful than me, but they still listen to me and learn from me because I have something they don't. A deep understanding of YouTube and human psychology with regards to content. I gained this knowledge with 8 years of experience running my own and others' YouTube channels. So start by talking about what you already know about a small puddle, then jump into a pond by talking about something bigger, then a lake, and then finally own the ocean. Now, just knowing what to film isn't enough. You also need to know how to film. So let's look at what Hormozi was doing in July 2021 to make great content fast. At this point, he started doing really well filming content in batches. As soon as he got inspiration, he would sit for a couple hours and record multiple videos at once. He explained that creativity doesn't like constraints. So he did not schedule time for content. He did not just fit time into his busy schedule for content. Instead, as soon as he got the inspiration from any conversation he had, he just got in the zone and made as many videos as he could. So how does he find the right video idea? He tests them out on Twitter. Every time he has a conversation that he wants to talk about, he just tweets about it. And the tweets that work, he tries to convert them into other pieces of video content. Alex Hormozi says TikToks are just tweets set in front of a camera. And this is something he still does to this day. Now, if you think that's brilliant, wait until you hear what he did in June 2022 that completely changed the game. So in June 2022 is when he did the most pivotal shift in his content so far. He started getting getting his videos edited, and he found a simple way to separate himself from the crowd. He started saying,
I have nothing to sell you. I have nothing to sell you. Nothing to sell you. Alex Hormozi here, and I have absolutely nothing to sell you.
which is crazy considering he's in the business niche and everyone wants to sell you courses or masterminds or anything whatsoever. But he had nothing to sell you. So why would you not listen to a man who has nothing to sell you? Because he has nothing to gain from you. It's just really psychologically, it makes sense. This was probably the most important thing he did. Now, something to understand here is that if you can't make unfiltered content that people would listen to, you shouldn't be making edited content. Because people only listen to someone when they have something to offer. Alex Hormozi says people don't have short attention spans, they have high standards now. So how do you actually match people's standards? You do cool shit and then you talk about it. Be someone off of YouTube to become someone on YouTube. If you have no credibility, no amount of great content with hyper edited stuff will retain people, especially when you're making educational content. So you have to talk about what you have already achieved to make people care. Doesn't mean you need $100 million portfolio, but you need to make something your audience wants. Then use your content to let them know that you have got it. Almost in half of his YouTube videos, he introduces himself by saying, my name is Alex Hormozi and I have nothing to sell you. I run a portfolio of companies doing $150 million a year. I just want you to learn so much that you can make so much money that you can eventually become one of our portfolio companies. He doesn't need to talk about his portfolio, but he does because he wants to let people know why they should care about his opinions. In July 2022, he started working with Caleb Ralston, the man behind Gary Vee's TikTok growth. Now, Caleb is a master at what he does. He completely switched up Hormozi's title and thumbnail strategy as well as his branding. Alex was already doing decently well, but positioning the title and thumbnail to be more intriguing and professional, he added a lot more credibility and clicks to Hormozi's brand. So let's break down what Caleb helped him do here. You see, a Hormozi title now doesn't just inform you on what the video is about. It inflames curiosity. It's not just about the what, it's also about the how, the why, and the whoa. It's about what Seth Godin calls remarkable. Something to make a remark about, something worth sharing at a dinner table or in group chats. So they applied the most popular trends from news headlines that have worked in the past. These are the 7 trends they found. First one being recency. Anything that is recent is automatically viral worthy, and so you should talk about it. Anything that's relevant to the audience is also important because the audience wants to know things that they need to know or learn about. Third thing is including a celebrity or a big name. You essentially steal their presence and add that to your own presence. The fourth one being proximity. As close as you can be to a major event, the better. So getting into $100 million masterminds, talking to billionaires, all of these things that nobody else has access to is what will help you stand out. Conflict. The fifth one is conflict. So anything that poses a physical or mental conflict in your audience's mind, use it against them to fuel their emotions to click on something. The sixth one being something that's unusual, something unique, something you don't see anywhere else, something that stops your scroll because it's just so unique, something that you cannot find anywhere else. And the last one being something that's ongoing, something that's already a trend, something that people are looking for. Alex Hormozi doesn't just use one of these things, he tries to use as many of these things in his title and thumbnail strategy. And each of these things taps into the human curiosity at its most primal. Now let's move on to August 10th. 2022. That's when he truly figured out how to stand out. This is when the era of his legendary shorts started. He has a new camera angle now, a way more authoritative background, not a basement anymore. He has high quality, fast-paced editing and he's appealing to the masses.
My name is Alex Hormozi and I have nothing to sell you.
This is where he switched from the marketing and sales content he was making to jumping into the ocean of general business mindset and advice, competing against people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Iman Gadzhi, and Dan Lok. So how did he stand out in such a crowded niche? Alex Hormozi said something that absolutely blew my mind. He said, be 0 of 1. not one of one. Just last week, he had a nasal strip that said, "Be 0 of 1," that he put right on before going live with his 90-minute virtual live stream session for his book launch. Essentially, being 0 of 1 means that do things that make you so unique. There is no niche or box to define you by. Don't just aim to be the only person in a niche. Aim to be so outside the box that you aren't even in a niche. He has catered his audience towards beginner entrepreneurs now without leaving out the experienced ones. He's trying to cater to the mass market. Anybody who is in the entrepreneurship space can watch him and learn from him. No matter what level of business you're at, you can learn something. He doesn't want to be a typical guru who shows off his lifestyle to attract a cheap audience. He wants an audience of action takers. He gives actionable advice but breaks it down into the simplest formats for entrepreneurs at all levels to be able to learn something. And that's a skill that he's mastered by speaking on stages to all kinds of people. He ensures that every piece of content he makes can be watched by anyone, whether they are new to his channel or long-term fans. He doesn't alienate an audience that doesn't know anything about him. Don't just make inside jokes in your videos that only the people who have been in your community can understand. YouTube is a very powerful platform that does a very good job of organically promoting your content to new audiences. Let it do its work and allow it to help you get the eyeballs that you want. He spends $160,000 a month on his organic content, but to him this is still very cheap compared to the $2 million a month he would have to spend in paid ads to get the exact same amount of attention and leads. Now those were 6 of the biggest things in his strategy in a chronological order, but there are 3 key things that we haven't talked about yet. First one being, he spent multiple years creating YouTube videos and podcasts, and he only gained 5,000 subscribers in those several years. And this is even though he had really interesting topics, he knew how to talk to his audience, he had a wealth of experience, he traveled all over the world, he knew several big names personally, he was massively successful, and even with all that interesting stuff, he only went from 0 to 5K in a couple years. And it wasn't after that once he cracked the code that he was able to go from 5,000 to 300,000 in 12 months and now to 1.5 million subscribers in another 12 months. Just because he figured out what works and what doesn't through consistently creating content, which is a real testament to how important consistency is. Alex Hormozi, in his book $100 Million Offers, said that quality is important, quantity is important, but consistency beats both of them. In an ideal world, you would have all 3, quality, quantity, and consistency. But it's hard to do that, especially when you're starting out. So just focus on being consistent first. Pick an upload schedule and just stick with it. Whether that's once a week or once in 2 weeks, as long as you can realistically stick to it, you'll improve your quality with each upload anyways. And then once you can afford to have the teams and systems in place, you can scale your quality and quantity of uploads with time. Consistency is very important, but the next 2 things are the biggest takeaways I got from his content. I've been doing YouTube for 8 years and still I was surprised at some of the things I have learned. So let's dive into these 2 extremely crucial takeaways. One is about monetization and the other is about why you need to make the same content again and again. Intrigued? Let's go. In the vast digital desert, he's built an oasis, a tribe. Alex subscribes to the jab, right hook philosophy by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's about giving value relentlessly until your audience asks you for the sale. But Hormozi has taken it a step further. In his world, you don't just jab for the sake of jabbing. You jab until your audience asks you to throw the right hook. Hormozi says 99% of people will never buy from you, and that's okay. They're the ones who will build your reputation. It's not about brute force, it's about finesse. Once you get good at content, your brand itself becomes a beacon that attracts more leads than any other form of outreach or ads. Another thing that Hormozi has done to build an audience this big is he keeps reinforcing to them that he has nothing to sell them, and also he keeps saying that I know you can achieve the success you want because I'm your biggest fan. And he truly believes that. He truly believes that his audience can get there without his help, but he just wants to help people get there so they can eventually, if they need help, work with him, which is a brilliant strategy. You don't have to ask people for the sale, you just tell them that you filter out people who are only at a certain level. He only works with people who are at $3 million a year. And so he tells everyone, I'll give you everything you need to get to $3 million a year and then you can work with me. It's brilliant, right? You get people to their dream dream goals, and now when they have a new dream, you help them get there again. But because now they have the money to pay you, they will. Now the ninth thing is what truly blew my mind. He says, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Quote, I've actually heard a lot of people say recently that I look up to. Hormozi says, repeat something until your audience gets it, because you as the person making the content, or you as the entrepreneur making a business, building your brand, selling your products, you'll get bored of your content before your audience has even seen it. The example he gave is that 1 out of 6 people in his audience, which is over 200,000 people, have never heard of his first book, $100 million Offers, even though he's been posting about it daily for 2 years. That's crazy, right? So you have to repeat yourself as much as possible to drill the point home. Use the same exact key points for multiple videos, but just use different examples, different analogies to get people to understand what you're truly talking about. Now the question isn't what will Hormozi do next? It's what will you do next? You have the choice. You have all the motivation and secrets from a big player like Alex Hormozi that you need from this video. And if you need any help with YouTube, fill out the form below in the description. I'm highly selective of who I work with, but regardless, I'd be willing to jump on a call to give you the advice you need. You see, I'm taking a page from Hormozi's book here, giving free value, but also only working with people who are at a certain level. Peace, take care, and again, start somewhere, but start now, this instant, not tomorrow. My name is Mihir, and I have nothing to say. Just kidding.